So if you want to take over, Daisha.
Yes, thank you, Christina. Good evening. I'm Daisha Rubel, and I'm a volunteer and steering committee member with the League of Women Voters of Hamilton Wenham. The League is a nonpartisan political organization which encourages informed and active participation in government. For more than 60 years, the League of Women Voters of Hamilton Wenham has been hosting Candidates Night as part of our voter education program. Our goal is to provide a forum for candidates to introduce themselves and some of their ideas to the community so that voters will be more informed at upcoming elections. We solicited questions from our membership and town residents. Tonight, we welcome the two candidates for the select board race in Wenham. There is one seat open for a term of 3 years. New this year, we will also have the chance to hear from candidates who are running unopposed, and we welcome those who are able to attend. Also joining us tonight are my fellow League steering committee members, Tess Leary, Lindsay Schnabel, and Christina Holtz. Actually, Christina will be our timekeeper tonight. And now I'd like to introduce our moderator, Amy Smith. Amy Smith is on the board of the League of Women Voters of the North Shore. She has served on the State League Board and is currently a member of the League of Women Voters of Massachusetts Membership Steering Committee. Amy lives in Georgetown, where she serves on the Town Select Board and Open Space Committee. This is the first year that Amy has generously volunteered her services as our moderator, and we are very grateful for her help. Amy?
Thanks, Daisha. And welcome to the League of Women Voters of Hamilton Wenham Candidates Forum. I'll start by explaining tonight's format. We'll start with the contested race for the Wenham Select Board, and then unopposed candidates will give their statements. For the Select Board candidates, we'll start off in alphabetical order and alternate thereafter who answers first. Candidates will have 2 minutes for an opening statement, 2 minutes for a closing statement, and 2 minutes to answer each question. Now, candidates, please keep your eye on the timekeeper or listen for the timekeeper. You need to wrap up when the time is up. If you continue speaking, I will say thank you and move on to the next speaker. Also, I remind you that personal references about other candidates are out of order. And now to the contested race for the Wenham Select Board. We'll start with opening statements, and Mr. Cheeseman, you may go first.
Well, thank you, League of Women Voters, for hosting this tonight. Short bio: I grew up in Wenham, graduate of Hamilton Wenham Regional High School, then on to the Air Force Academy. After an Air Force career, I returned to Wenham to finish out a civilian airline career. I want to start off by thanking all the members of the Wenham team, and I include those town employees, committee, board members, elected officials, and volunteers. These 3 years have been quite unusual with the pandemic and the crisis that we occurred on the 2020 Select Board. But that team has brought us through. I'd point out that just before I moved to the solitary position on the Select Board and on those unusual circumstances, that I made sure that the Wenham Human Rights Committee was established. Since then, the team has reformed the Select Board. We have instituted public comment, have set up rotation of the board chairs, have changed the name actually, have written procedures as how the Select Board appoints and conducts its own business, and most importantly, has established a code of conduct for Wenham. Thanks to the Finance Office, especially Jamie Cullen and Finance Committee led by Chair Jim Purdy, we've modernized the budget process of 5-year budget projections, out-year debt financing forecasts, long-range capital planning, and move to increase reserve funds and much better coordination with the schools in Hamilton. Yeah, we got a lot to do going ahead, but we are addressing environmental concerns. We have more maintenance on our infrastructure. We have Maplewoods Senior Housing Affordable coming online, and we have safe sidewalks established and the pedestrian crossing on Arbor Street. The fire and police have new equipment, and very importantly, we have established and continuing to move through the master planning. So during these 3 years, I've sought to support all these measures.
Time.
Thank you. And I'll just close it at that.
Thank you. Mr. Waddell. You're muted, sir.
Thank you. I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters for holding this important event tonight. I would also like to thank my opponent for both his service to the town and to the country. And I would like to thank my wife and 2 sons for their support in this endeavor. We've been Wenham residents for 15 years now. I've been an investment professional for the past 25 plus years. I hold my CFA charter. I'm a chartered financial analyst. I'm a numbers guy. I've chaired the following committees in town: the Community Preservation Committee, the CPC, the Town Government Study Committee, the First Church of Wenham Investment Committee, and I've also served on the Open Space and Rec Committee and the Lakeview Committee. I've also been a baseball coach for 15 years, from T-ball to Babe Ruth. I've led the move to expand the select board from 3 to 5 members through a citizens petition in 2020, and as the chair of the Town Government Study Committee in 2022. One more ballot vote on April 6th to make moving from 3 to 5 a reality. Change is here. 3 to 5 is happening. A new elementary school will be built. New athletic facilities are coming. We need to implement the master plan, which is well underway. We also need to address our water issues. We need someone to manage change, not react to it. We need someone with a financial background on the select board. We need to know about big changes in our taxes before we open our tax bills. And we need to make the best use of funds that we have. Use your cheapest funds first before you hit the tax bill. The tax bill should be your last option. Please consider me when you vote on April 6th or before.
Thank you. And now question 1, and Mr. Waddell, you will start with this. What do you feel are the top infrastructure priorities for Wenham right now?
Excellent. Thank you for the question. So there are many infrastructure priorities. The Route 1A upgrade, the schools and athletic fields, Beverly Airport, the town website, and water. I'm going to focus on the water resources. I've been in contact with the Ipswich River Watershed Association, and there may be an opportunity to partner with the Salem Beverly Water Supply Board. Currently, buying water from Salem Beverly is an option available to Wenham, but is extremely expensive because they charge for potable water delivery and wastewater removal. Almost all of our residences have private septic, so we don't need to send our wastewater to Salem. We should be able to negotiate a better summer usage rate with Salem Beverly and reduce our impact on the river during critical summer months. Salem Beverly has an excess storage capacity, and the surface water they use is less impactful to the health of the Ipswich River. There is a regional task force looking into regionalizing water resources, and we need to be part of those discussions. Our town website is sorely lacking on up-to-date information. Brad Hill is still shown to be our state representative. We've had 3 state reps since Brad's departure. We need to assign a staff member to regularly update this critical access point. It is very difficult to reach Wenham residents, and the website needs to be a more useful tool. 1A. MassDOT is redesigning 1A through the center of Wenham. We don't have much say in the matter since it is a state road, but it will impact the look and feel of downtown. Travel safety by car, bike, and foot should be greatly increased, but it comes with a cost. There will be at least 1 new stoplight and some road widening. Some of our historic stone walls could be impacted. Beverly Airport.
Time.
We'll get to that one later. Thank you.
Mr. Cheeseman, would you like me to repeat the question?
Sure, for the public, yes.
Oh, what do you feel are the top infrastructure priorities for Wenham right now?
There are 2 primary priorities that we have. The first is, as I engaged several years ago with Dr. Harvey on the superintendent of schools, that we have expended for 25 years since our last real upgrade on the school system, so that We are now faced with the fact that we have athletic fields that we've supported and hope people will vote for at town meeting coming on Saturday. And as we've worked with the 5 chairs of Wenham, Hamilton, and the school board to advance the feasibility study, and hopefully next year to make the big decision on the replacement of the Cutler School. The schools are the basis of our town's reputation, and we need to support those. As my opponent said, the other major item that we need to address is water. You know, water has been stressed through last year's drought. We've also seen that there is new pollution agents that are threatening our sources. And in response to that, our chair, Ernest Ashley, and our superintendent, Eric Mansfield, have been fully engaged on these issues. We have joined the North Shore Water Resilience Task Force that Senator Tarr has set up, and we are fully engaged on protecting the Ipswich watershed. The idea of joining the Salem Beverly Water Board is part of that initiative, but you have to realize that actually we do not draw water directly from the Ipswich River. We get it from our own wells. Those wells will be upgraded as technology is available. We've used ARPA money to put in place a backup generator, and we are engaged in testing as required by the state and faced a more stringent testing as this PFAS is addressed. So I think those are the 2 major items, water and the schools. And of course, as we said, you know, there are a whole lot of other items such as Route 1A that we had a public hearing on last week. And of course, we have continuing trying to. Thank you.
My question 2, and Mr. Cheeseman, you will answer first. As a member of the Board of Selectmen, you may make decisions on issues or policies that may be controversial. How would you gather the information necessary? What principles would you use to guide your decision-making? And how will you work to engage the community and be as transparent as possible?
The current select board has made every effort to be transparent. I was the one that established public comment period during the select board period. We have reached out through surveys on ARPA. We have posted on the website all the information that we have available readily, and continue to try to find new ways of communicating with the public, especially since the demise of the Hamilton Wenham Chronicle. My compatriot, Diane Bucco, has set up individual listening times at the library for the select board members, and we are seeking to add the possibility of newsletters or inclusions in the bills as they go out. The transparency issue is something that we addressed in the past. We had problems with the prior administration, and now we have all the meetings open, fully open to the public. And most importantly, we now have a code of conduct as well as written procedures as to how we appoint officials, how we address issues, and how we provide protection to our employees. More to be done there, but you know, the pandemic has restricted some items, and we operate on a very minimum manning level throughout the town, and especially in the town hall, to make things efficient and effective. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Waddell, would you like me to repeat the question? Okay. And you're muted. As a member of the Board of Selectmen, you may make decisions on issues.
Excuse me, that's a select board.
Okay, thank you. As a member of the Select Board, you may make decisions on issues or policies that may be controversial. How would you gather the information necessary? What principles would you use to guide your decision-making? And how will you work to engage the community and be as transparent as possible?
Excellent, thank you. I love this question. So I chaired the Town Government Study Committee to study whether we should move from 3 to 5 select board members. During that process, there were strong opinions held on both sides. I was the chair. We made sure that we had a public comment period at every meeting, no restrictions. We talked, we argued, but we wanted everyone to have a voice. We wanted to make sure that we were completely open and transparent. We put all our documents on the website, on the town website. All through the research process, we let people know exactly what we were doing and trying to get as many people involved as possible. My opponent has said that he has implemented public comment period at the select board meetings, which is true. His predecessor eliminated it when he got comments that he didn't like. But when my opponent brought public comment back, he severely restricted it to 2 minutes and only items on the agenda. No one wants to talk about things that aren't on the agenda. They want to talk about what's current, what's before the select board. Previously, when I approached the select board on the Maple Woods issue, I respectfully asked to be allowed to speak during that warrant article, and I was allowed. Andrew DeFranz and I had a back and forth for probably about 30 minutes because I had researched the topic. We've gotten away from that. We've gotten into restricting what people can say, and there's now a bill before the legislature to remove restrictions on what can be discussed at public comment period. I would encourage every board and committee to have public comment without restriction. You need to restrict time, so you don't want the meeting running too long, but welcome everybody and don't tell them what they can't talk about.
Time.
Thank you.
Okay, question 3, and Mr. Waddell, you will answer first this time. What are 1 or 2 specific ideas you have to bring more revenue to Wenham?
So this is a tricky question. Wenham has undertaken creating a master plan for the town. We are also initiating a study on the iron rail property. I believe we should let these processes complete before delineating specific projects to increase revenue. Wenham needs commercial growth. We need to look at our current zoning to see if areas need to be rezoned to allow for commercial development. Wenham's going to be subject to the new MBTA overlay district, which mandates high-density zoning near train stations. You can look at a map and see where that is. It's fairly obvious. Gordon College is under agreement to sell 75 acres to Pulte Homes to build a 300-unit residential complex off Grapevine Road. For these potential high-density projects, I would advocate mixed-use structures, commercial on the ground floor and housing above. This could help minimize car traffic. Buy your coffee, groceries, pizza, whatever downstairs instead of getting in a car and driving to the Crosby Plaza in North Beverly or elsewhere. I really don't think it's prudent to go into specifics about other areas in town that and specific projects and people's property. Remember, everything is owned here. So anytime you talk about specific project, you're talking about someone's property. And I think we need to let the master plan and the iron rail study complete before we get into specifics. And we need to listen to what the people have told us in that master planning process and implement it. And also, we don't have a commercial tax rate in Wenham. We only have the base residential rate. So we need to think about implementing a commercial rate, but we need to be very careful not to scare off potential businesses. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Cheeseman.
Yes, the question of an additional revenue streams is part and parcel of the master plan and the feasibility study at Iron Rail. Both are proceeding, but not decisions, but studies have to be included in that as to how we develop the town economically. We've been stagnant in that area for quite a while now, but we have opportunities, as Mr. Waddell said. There's the Pulte Home project potential over by Gordon College. There's MBTA mandated development near the train station or elsewhere, and we have our own iron rail property. Those are substantial pieces of land that offer opportunities under individual living overlays or new business overlays to provide tax revenue positive income to the town. Through the master plan, I've heard through many of the meetings that there is a desire for certain types of restaurants or commercial development or retail. But if you look at those that take an enormous amount of acreage to produce a base of taxes that will have any real effect on our tax revenues. What we really might consider, though, is what Ipswich has done and looked at the Great Estate program, where they included biolabs into a large parcel of land, but maintaining a nice green buffer zone around the entire facility. That way we have continued nice character, the natural beauty of Wenham, while obtaining significant tax revenues from what we really is the key is to find a high-tech, high-value office or corporate space that uses up minimum acreage. And as my opponent said, yes, definitely all these things have to take into consideration the fact that 98% of our land currently is zoned residential, that the planning board will have
Time.
issues. Thank you.
Thank you. Question 4, and Mr. Cheeseman, you'll answer first this time. What issues do you feel will be the most important for Wenham to address in the next 3 years? And what skills do you have that will help the town meet these challenges?
The major issues ahead in the next 3 years is to come to an understanding of the balance between the tension for more services and the counterbalancing tolerance for taxes. That is a struggle we have because of our almost total residential tax space. The second major item that we need to address in the 3 years ahead is how we're going to change our environmental approach to change to an all-electric basis of the economy, and that will filter down to the town itself as we transition to electric vehicles, to electric power, solar, renewable energy, and address the effects that the carbon economy has had on our environment, cleaning up our water, cleaning up our open spaces, and so forth. To achieve that, I offer the expertise of many years of leadership, of actual practical on the ground expertise, where I built and oversaw the development of large constructions in the Middle East, and the fact that I built, along with my compatriots on the select board, a dynamic, energized team on the town committees, on the town employment, and in the town hall. I offer the experience, I offer the expertise, and most importantly, I offer a sound management that addresses issues on a factual basis and not the emotional basis that we've seen lately on some of the committees that Mr. Waddell had spoke to.
Thank you. Mr. Waddell,
Oh, thank
would
you.
you like me to repeat the question?
Yes, please.
What issues do you feel will be most important for Wenham to address in the next 3 years? And what skills do you have that will help the town meet these challenges?
So first and foremost, I think are the schools. We're going to be building a new school probably within the next 7 years. We're going to need the partnership with the school committee and the administration. We can't be adversaries, and that we've had an adversarial relationship for quite a while now. You remember with the ARPA funds, the first use cited in the ARPA document from the federal government was use it to build new schools. Yet the select board chose not to include that, knowing that we had a $250,000 bill to study a necessary study to get the funding. It was excluded from that survey, and we would have gotten a 47% reimbursement from the state on that. I believe transparency is an issue. So just this week, it's come up that we found an extra $500,000 in free cash that we didn't know about. That wasn't in. It isn't in the budget. It's not in the budget documents. It's not in the warrant. So I think we do have some budget issues. One of the huge issues I also see is turnover in town hall. In the past 3 years, we've had 5 town administrators. We've had 4 town clerks. We've lost a treasurer. We've lost a finance, what was Jackie's title? Assistant town administrator. So there's been a lot of turnover. We need to stabilize town hall. We need to support town hall and stop losing key people. Tax rate stabilization. We just came through our assessments and we had a huge tax shift from our, basically the burden on our more moderately priced homes, $400,000 to $600,000, saw a huge increase. Some people got a 75% increase in their tax bill from Q2 to Q3. Thank you very much.
And now we'll go to closing statements, and Mr. Waddell, you will start. And we will ask the candidates to focus in their statement on what they feel differentiates them from their opponent.
Excellent, thank you. Again, I want to thank the League of Women Voters for hosting this forum. I think the biggest differentiator is I'm a numbers guy. I look at the numbers, I look at the assessments. And I'm running for select board now because I believe we need to manage the changes that are coming and that are already happening in Wenham. We want to maintain Wenham's charm, but we need to be ready for reality. Wenham needs someone who welcomes residents into important conversations, not restrict what they can say. I will work to remove restrictions on public comment at select board meetings and encourage all town committees to adopt a public comment period at all open meetings. I want to see formal liaisons formed between select board members and each board and committee. The current informal committee assignments aren't working, as evidenced by the lack of warning in January about the tax burden shift. It should have been very obvious to anyone looking at those assessments. You deserved a warning. Wenham will be better served having an advocate of expanding the select board to 5 members in place when it happens, rather than someone who has fought it since it was first introduced. Wenham has voted in favor of this change twice, and I believe it will pass a 3rd time on April 6th. We need to be prepared. We need to be partners with the schools, not adversaries. I will work with the school committee and administration to serve our children in a cost-effective manner. Vote for accountability and transparency. Vote for the future of Wenham. Vote Waddell on April 6th. Thank you, and go Generals.
Richard Cheeseman.
Yes, thank you also to the League of Women Voters for hosting tonight. And I will say that one of the issues we have between Mr. Waddell and myself is the matter of behavior. Mr. Waddell has a long track record of incidents with the town employees and behavior that has paralleled but challenges what we accept as standards in Wenham. Myself, I have been very much involved with the town committees. I have worked very closely with Hamilton and with the school committees over these last 3 years to advance both the fields and the new school building. We have issues that need to be addressed. We're working on those. And certainly as we go forward, we invite everybody's participation in that, especially in the master planning. Mr. Waddell has spoke repeatedly about the 2-minute period of public comments at the time. That is strictly a time constraint on what is a business meeting, and it parallels what the school committee in Hamilton does. In fact, the public comment period is mostly dominated by Mr. Waddell bringing up various subjects that are of interest, but have distracted us from other more important information. I would ask you to consider what you need going forward as a town. We need steady management, one that uses wide-ranging information and studies the problem and not addressing it on a very emotional basis. Take, for instance, Mr. Waddell's allegation that the 75% increase. No, there was one property at 61%. And in fact, he has turned this information around to the fact that, yes, Wenham increased its property value 17%. I hope you'll vote for myself and look at my website. Thank you very much, League of Women Voters.
Thank you. And now we will hear from candidates running in uncontested races. Each candidate has up to 2 minutes to introduce themselves to the public and to speak about why they are running. Although all those running unopposed were invited to attend this evening, not all were able to make it, and instead have submitted statements to be read on their behalf. We'll start first with the Hamilton Board of Assessors candidate Joseph Schachtman.
I'm
And
just give me a minute to get the slide up, Amy. It's
Mhm.
unfortunately um, this is a night of some technical difficulties.
if you could just give me a minute to get that statement. Great. All right. So I will read Mr. Schachtman's statement. Hello, my name is Joe Schachtman. I've been on the Board of Assessors for about 4 years now. I grew up in Hamilton, got a mechanical engineering degree from the University of Michigan, and now I'm the Deputy Nuclear Business Manager at the Portsmouth Naval Shipyard in Kittery, Maine, which I've been at for about 13 years. My wife, who is also a Hamilton native, and I have 2 children, 5 and 3 years old. And we're lucky enough to buy a fixer-upper here in Hamilton in 2015. My family and I have spent the last 8 years working on the house, and it's been a very rewarding process. I was invited to join the Board of Assessors about 4 years ago and jumped at the chance. My one simple goal on the board has been, and will continue to be, ensuring that everyone is treated fairly. Thank you for your time, and I look forward to continue serving our community. Next, Wenham Library Trustee candidate Bethany Yu.
Hi, my name is Bethany Yu, and I'm so delighted to have the chance to serve as a trustee for our library. Our family loves books and loves public libraries. We have a book about public libraries, and this is not our only copy. We usually have several books going at the same time, everything from comic books to historical fiction to crime novels to books on gardening. In the last few years, we have moved all over the country, and every time we move to a new city, it doesn't feel like we've settled in until we've cased the local library. This was especially true when my husband, our 2 children, and I moved to Wenham from San Diego during the pandemic. It was a massive transition, but everything clicked when we found the Hamilton Wenham Library. It was a new city and a strange time, but the library looked, felt, and even smelled familiar and made us feel immediately at home. I would be honored to serve as your trustee, especially as the library begins its strategic 5-year plan to help continue make our library a place where everyone can feel welcome and find themselves. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Hamilton Library Trustee candidate MJ Brown. And she could not be here tonight, so I will be reading her statement. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for taking the time to participate in and view this important voter information event hosted by the League of Women Voters. An informed electorate is an empowered one and is a cornerstone of our democracy at all levels. I'm grateful to the League for providing this opportunity to candidates and to voters. My name is Mary Jane Brown. Most people call me MJ, and I am running for Joint Library Trustee. 3 years ago, the post was vacant and no one had pulled papers, so I conducted a successful write-in campaign. Now I am seeking re-election to the position. Strong and responsive libraries are a part of a community's fabric, and our library is an absolute gem. Our director, Kim Butler, her staff, the trustees, and the Friends group all recognize that the changing needs of our community require flexible service and dynamic programming. As one of the few truly public spaces left in American life, libraries offer so much more than books now, and our library is no exception. Access to technology, from computers to Wi-Fi to 3D printing, dedicated developmentally appropriate programming from toddlers to seniors, including the wonderfully innovative memory kits and cafe events, a library of things from lawn games to tools to seeds, and so much more. This year, our library is in a strategic planning cycle, and it has been my pleasure and privilege to be part of that process. The staff has held focus groups and will solicit further community input with a handout at town meetings this Saturday. Have your say about what our library should be. And with your vote next Thursday, allow me the privilege of continuing to help shape this powerful community asset. Thank you for your time and your vote. Next, we'll hear from school committee candidate Francesca Avogadre Connors.
Hi, everyone. My name is Francesca Connors, and I'm running for the school committee. First, I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters in Hamilton and Wenham for helping me reach to you with this message. I live in Hamilton with my husband and 4 boys. My 3 oldest boys currently attend the Winthrop Elementary School, while the little one is at home with me. When my husband and I decided to set roots in Hamilton, as with many of you, we were attracted by the excellent public schools in this town, in addition to its beauty and sense of community. I grew up in Italy and I went to public schools from elementary school through my PhD in genetics and molecular biology. Thanks to an education in public schools, I've had a rewarding career as a scientist and in management in the biotech and pharmaceutical sector. Now I'm very fortunate that I answer to my 4 boys full time, and I love helping them with their homework and watching them participate in sports and other activities, coaching soccer, and volunteering for various initiatives. I am excited for the opportunity to give back to our community, and particularly to our schools. With my candidacy, I intend to lead initiatives to maintain our schools' strong ratings while continuing to meet the constantly evolving needs of our children. My sincere hope is that all of our children have the opportunity to become anything they want through and after their journey through our schools. So please stop me and introduce yourself if you see me around town or reach out via email. I'd love to hear your concerns and also your ideas for how we can make our school community stronger. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we'll hear from school committee candidate Dana Alevra.
Hi, thank you. So my name is Dana Alera. I've been a member of the Hamilton-Wenham Regional School Committee for the past 3 years. I've been the chair for the past 2 years. I've also been the chair of the negotiations subcommittee and a member of the capital finance subcommittee. On a personal note, my husband and I have lived in Hamilton for 21 years and raised 2 sons here, both of whom graduated from the regional. I'm a passionate believer in public education, excellent public education for all of our children. These past 2 years, we've accomplished a lot, and the district is on a hopeful and exciting path with strong leadership and clear vision. I'm excited to continue this work and to support our children as we embrace innovation and create a culture of community-wide belonging. Over the past 3 years, the school committee has hired Eric Tracy as superintendent, providing us with strong leadership, stability, and stellar communication skills. The school committee has approved a budget developed in conjunction with our district leadership that will be brought before the voters at our town meetings this weekend. This budget meets the needs of our children and has the support of the FinCom and the select boards in both towns. The district has completed portrait of a graduate work and essential strategic planning. The state has expedited our application and moved us forward into the feasibility stage for the elementary school building project. School committee has also put forward a plan to revitalize our athletic fields and facilities. This project has been over 10 years in the making, and this needed project will finally be brought forward to town meeting and to the ballot for a vote of the citizens. Finally, our teachers and staff, leadership team, parents, guardians, families, broader community, and most of all our students have made Hamilton-Wenham a fantastic place to learn for generations. and I'm excited to see what the next generation brings. I've been honored to serve for the past 3 years and hope to continue for the next 3. Thank you.
Thank you. And now we'll hear from Wenham Town Clerk candidate Kirsten Alexander.
Hello, and thank you to the League of Women Voters. I'm Kirsten Alexander, candidate for Wenham Town Clerk. I've lived in Wenham for 8 wonderful years with my husband, daughter, dog, and the cutest flock of chickens around. I've learned a lot about town government and met wonderful people by volunteering on town committees and local nonprofit boards, including the Master Plan Advisory Committee, Wenham Historic District Commission, WVIS, the Human Rights Coalition, and the Garden Club. Professionally, I've been a marketing and development director and consultant for many years. You can read more about my background at alexanderforwenham.com or Kirsten Alexander for Wenham Town Clerk on Facebook. In your town meeting warrant, Articles 19 and 20 are about whether to make the town clerk position an appointed one. These votes come right after the field vote, so please stay. We're not the only town considering whether appointed town clerks make more sense as the job has become increasingly complex, especially with changes in elections, including early voting, which I did today. Whether elected or appointed, the role of the town clerk has the same statutory requirements laid down by the state. I've read other town studies and talked with several clerks to better understand this issue. There are strong pros and cons to both elected and appointed. I'm not taking a public position. If elected, my pledge is to follow the will of the voters, whether it's to serve out the 3-year elected term or ensure a smooth transition to an appointed clerk role. As a town resident, an elected clerk knows the community, which I'm told can be harder than learning the job. A major advantage for the appointed position is access to a large pool of experienced town clerks. An elected town clerk has independence from the select board members whose elections they oversee and can only be recalled by voters. An appointed clerk would be hired by the select board and follow the same rules as the rest of town hall's professional staff. I hope to see you at town meeting and have your vote in the town election. Your vote matters. Thank you.
Thank you. And next we'll hear from Hamilton Town Clerk candidate Karen Kale.
Hi, everyone. Corinne Kale here. Very happy to be here. Thank you, League of Women Voters, for putting this together. As folks may know, I still am a member of the League of Women Voters, and when I was president for over 6 years, sat on the other side of these candidates' nights. So it's really a bit different being on this side. I've been in Hamilton for over 30 years and involved in town government for, oh gosh, for many of those years. I was on the Hamilton Government Study Committee that recommended the change to a town manager form of government. And then I was also on the hiring committee of our first town manager. So I certainly do know a lot about town government, but certainly have learned a lot more by serving as an elected town clerk in Hamilton. And if I'm a little distracted, it's because I have a 6-month-old kitten that's driving me crazy here. So bear with me. I'm here to ask for your vote for your second term as town clerk. I was elected in June of 2020 during the COVID insanity, an election that was actually delayed. Jumped right in, dealing with all the COVID protocols and the election law changes right for a presidential election year. So it's been quite a learning curve, but very, very exciting and very doable, because the Clerks Association and the clerks across the Commonwealth are an incredible supportive group of smart women and men who are all committed to elections and the multitude of other responsibilities that we have. So over the last just under 3 years, I've actually run 9 elections, because we also had the special election for state representative when Brad Hill resigned. And I also was very involved with the state representative recount situation last fall that went straight into February. So that was quite an experience. I'm very proud that of the 6 communities involved in the recount, Hamilton was the only community where not even one vote changed from the results to what occurred after 3,731 ballots were hand counted. So it's a tremendous credit to all the poll workers, the election workers that I have pulled together and provided training to, that they took their job very seriously. We have a professional group, And I look forward to continuing to work with them. But I think most communities are always in need of additional poll workers. So if anybody else is interested, please reach out. I'm looking forward to the 2024 presidential year next year. It's going to be quite a challenge, but given my track record with elections last year, I'm looking forward to that and looking forward to a lot of the other responsibilities of clerks around the record keeping. So thank you.
And now we'll hear from Hamilton Town Moderator candidate Bill Bowler. And you're muted, Ms. Bowler.
Okay, thank you. Thank you to the league for sponsoring this forum. I've been involved in town government in various positions for over 30 years. I've been town moderator for, I believe, about 5 years. The main job of the town moderator is to run the town meetings efficiently and fairly. And I also appoint members of the finance committee, some of those at the direction of the select board. I'd mainly just like to say that I hope everyone will come to the town meetings this coming Saturday. Town meeting, I probably don't get goosebumps anymore, but it is about the purest form of democracy that there is. And there, you know, it is the legislature of the town, and it's important. And if you don't come, you don't have a say. And so I just urge everyone to come to town meeting. I will say I'm glad I'm not running against Corinne, because I couldn't get my cats to come and sit in my lap. But you know, that's a little unfair, Corinne. But anyway, please come to town meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. And last but not least, Wenham Water Commissioner candidate Charles Dam, who could not be here tonight, and I will be reading his statement. First, thanks to the League of Women Voters for providing this opportunity and reading my remarks, as I had a prior commitment in scheduling conflict. My name is Charles Dam. I go by Chuck, and I have lived in Wenham since 2019 with my wife and kids. Although I would say that makes us new to Wenham still. I've spent about 17 years of my professional career working with various cities and towns in Massachusetts and the North Shore. In particular, in the planning, design, and construction and operation of municipal water systems. I always told folks that asked if I would like to volunteer for town board or committee that I would if I knew anything about, if one I knew anything about came open. So here I am for water commissioner. I currently work as the DPW director of Manchester by the Sea and have been in that role for the last 5 years. In my role, I work with our professional operators and manage all aspects of the water system, and feel this perspective gives me a unique insight into the challenges facing our town operators and the community at large. I've been a part of regional planning for water systems, including the ongoing work of Senator Tarr's North Shore Water Resiliency Task Force. As a commissioner, I can and will offer additional perspective and hopefully meaningful expertise to help the town make sound decisions on technical and economic issues facing the water system. We will be facing increased public and regulatory pressure on PFAS, climate change, conservation, and capital improvements. I believe that I can help the town and our water department navigate these issues and help communicate them to the public. Thank you. And that concludes our statements from unopposed candidates. On behalf of the League, I'd like to thank all of the candidates for their participation in our democratic process. Daisha?
Yes, the League of Women Voters of Hamilton Wenham thanks all the candidates for participating in this evening. And special thanks to our moderator, Amy Smith, and to Christina Holtz, who stepped in at the last minute to not only be our Zoom guru, but also our timekeeper. We recognize that our time here was limited, and we encourage voters who have follow-up questions to contact candidates directly. Please consider joining us and working with other local volunteers so we can continue to provide this type of voter education. Visit us at lwvhw.org to learn more. And as many have said tonight, please don't forget to attend the annual town meeting on April 1st, this Saturday, which starts at 9 a.m. in Hamilton at the Hamilton Wenham Regional High School and at 1 p.m. in Wenham at the Bucher Elementary School. And also remember to vote in the election on April 6th. Thank you for watching and have a good evening, everyone. Good night.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.